Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and today, while I shiny hunt in the background, I wanted to go ahead and talk about and shed some insight and ramble a little bit about what is, in my opinion, the worst update to ever happen to PokeMMO. Now, of course, I'm going to be talking about the flag breeding system. Some of you might hear those words and be like, literally, what are you talking about? I've never heard of that. It's actually so hard to find any historical documents or anything showing this actually happened. It's actually really hard to find proof of this system ever even existing within PokeMMO. I browsed the forums, I browsed Google, I went to multiple different pages on Google, the forbidden page 2 of Google searches. I really tried to find a flag breeding guide, a forum post complaining about it, an update post. I went through every single PokeMMO update ever and couldn't find any information regarding the flag breeding system. Maybe I just totally missed it. Maybe I made it all up in my boomer brain. I don't know. But today, I think it's worth talking about as it was a total disaster, in my personal opinion, and I lived through it. Now, this was many, many years ago. I think the flag breeding system came out in around 2014 to 2015, around that era. So that's eight to 9 years ago. So my memory on it is a little foggy. If you also lived through this system, or if you have any resources or might know where it's at, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know where you found any documents or any guides or anything pertaining to it actually existing, or any information on it, as well as just your lived experiences. Let's go ahead and actually talk about what was it. What was the flag breeding system? Essentially, PokeMMO went through many, many different variations of breeding systems, trying to save the economy, trying to salvage things. It reached a point where every Pokemon was worth nothing. Even good IV Pokemon were plummeting in value. Less and less trades were happening on the GTL and trade chat in general. Less people were willing to buy. No one was willing to buy stuff is what happened. Everybody was trying to sell stuff to make money, but nobody had any reason to buy anything. The economy was at a stunting point. And flag breeding was meant to fix that. So before, we had normal breeding. In PokeMMO, before flag breeding, before most of the other attempts, we just had traditional breeding. You would breed like you would any other Pokemon MMO. You would go to the daycare. You would put 2 of your Pokemon in there. You would get 5 eggs, and you would go over to the biking route in Kanto and just go up and down, up and down. It was a joke for it called Bike MMO. And some of us old players miss Bike MMO. It wasn't balanced by any means. It wasn't good for the game, but there's something majestic and something fun about running up and down next to all your friends all day, and that's pretty much most of the end game. But flag breeding was a system that came out kind of secretively, and they didn't explain how to actually do it. So what I mean by that is, you would give your Pokemon to the breeder center as usual. It wouldn't consume them. We didn't have that yet, so it wouldn't consume your Pokemon. And what would happen is, you could only get 1 egg at a time. So you would give it to you'd give your 2 Pokemon, you would get 1 egg in return. It wouldn't consume them. And what would happen is, you would get an egg, but that egg didn't hatch via time, and it didn't hatch via biking up and down. What it hatched by was these things called flags. Now, these flags were essentially arbitrary objectives and goals that you had to check or knock down, like flags, to be able to actually hatch your Pokemon. Once again, my memory is very foggy on this, so please let me know if I'm incorrect or wrong. I believe it was something like 7 flags, but I think you only had to do around 4 of them for your egg to actually hatch. Those flags consisted of things like gaining 10,000 experience in the wild and wild battles, encountering a wild Pokemon with the same nature that your egg actually had, which you obviously didn't know and didn't know you're wild because it was total random and guessing. There also wasn't hordes at this time, I believe, so it was probably pre-2015. We got hordes in 2015 or so with Unova, so it was like a 2014 era update, maybe late 2014. We didn't have hordes at the time, so you'd have to single encounter to gain XP and single encounter to hopefully encounter a Pokemon within match nature. There was also things like match one of the IVs with a wild Pokemon, and there were things like wait 15 minutes as a flag or whatever, but you had to do 4 out of 7 or something like that, if I remember correctly. So you had to do all these random things, wait wait minutes of time, encounter random Pokemon. And the main issue with this was you never knew if you checked a flag. That was the craziest thing about this system, is that it was not explained anywhere on the forums. It was all through word of mouth in game. There were horror stories of new players coming to the game, making an egg, and then just trying to hatch it, biking up and down at Bike Road for like 10 hours and being like, oh, my egg never hatched. What's going on here? And then learning about this convoluted, insane system where they have to do all these crazy things. It was a huge pain. The point of the flag system in the devs, I guess, respect, or in their, to make their argument, from what I believe, was to like slow breeding down. It was to slow breeding down, to balance things out a bit more and to not make things too endless where you could just infinitely breed Pokemon, right? It was too broken. They wanted to slow breeding down. That was their goal, and have a little bit more of a cost to it. Obviously, this system brutally failed, and then we have the system we have today, which is really, really genius in my opinion. It took them many iterations to get to it. We even had, I believe, 2 or so iterations of flag breeding, where there was one iteration, if I remember correctly, once again, my memory's foggy, where you could get 5 eggs and do all of them at once, and there was one iteration where you could do 1 egg at a time. So that was an interesting thing. And flags were just universally hated. I know a lot of people quit the game entirely due to flag breeding. A lot of people quit the game entirely due to the new breeding system as well, though, and myself included. I definitely was not a fan of consuming my Pokemon to create a new one. I was hugely against that. But as time has gone on, I've grown and I've learned, and I've been like, you know what? Actually, this is kind of a genius system. It's great for the game. Once you learn it as a player, it's actually really good. It's just tough to deal with change, right, for anyone. So I've come around to that, as hopefully most people do. And then, yeah, back to flag breeding. Flag breeding was just so insane. It was a universally hated update. The fact that it was a secret was insane and a pain to all players. Having to see like CMs and veteran players constantly try to guide and explain what flags are. There's such a convoluted system. Having to try to explain to new players in global chat what they are every single day was crazy. Even in like my team chat and stuff, having to explain newer players like, hey, this is the flag system. Yeah, it sucks. Most players just didn't breed. Most players just didn't bother with it. It wasn't really worth it. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think the flag system was the worst update to ever come to PokeMMO, but it had to happen. I think iterations of breeding just had to happen. They had to test stuff and figure out what worked and what didn't. So I think it was a necessary part of PokeMMO being as good as it is today. But man, was it a pain to live through. What's your least favorite, or what do you think is the worst update to PokeMMO ever? I think it's a really interesting question. I don't want to be too negative about this video. Obviously, I love the game and I think it's at a great spot. So every negative update that has come from the game has led it to its current positive state, which is super nice. So maybe leave your least favorite update, maybe leave your favorite update, just trying to throw some negative positive sandwich in there. But if you enjoyed today's video, if you enjoyed your time here, make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. Follow me on Twitch, linked down below, for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord link is down below for updates and all that content. And if you want to go above and beyond, if my time has earned it from you, if you've enjoyed enough of my videos, whether they've been helpful or just mildly entertaining background content while you yourself are shunting like I am right now, hoping for the shiny Tropius. This spot is actually great. There's a lot of cool Pokemon here. But anyways, make sure to subscribe, like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it. That's totally okay. And if you want to go above and beyond, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, PayPal, Venmo, all that stuff keeps the lights on, allow me to stay full time. I appreciate it. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Good luck shunting, and let's hopefully never see another flag breeding system in PokeMMO ever again.